We are live. Welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show. I am your host, Kieran Stewart, and today we have a triple threat. We've got a triple threat today. Yeah. All right. Today we've got our chief scout, Steve K, in the middle. How you doing, Steve?
All right, Kieran. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
And on our right, we've got Jerome Marks, our player analysis king. How you doing, Jerome?
Watch it, guys. All good, thanks.
All good. The
man with the voice.
The man with the voice. They call him the voice. Except for it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. It's not like Barry White. It's not like the geezers that you hear on the adverts. He's unique. He is unique.
We could never copy that voice.
Transfer exchange show. Huh?
Never copy that voice. We could never do it.
Can't. Imitations will not be accepted.
That's it.
All right. Where are we? Let's change this about a little bit. There we go. Okay, and today's special is Crystal Palace and Brighton at Hove, Albion. We've got loads to talk about, and we have the transfer roundup, of course. Hopefully, we've got a couple of little exclusives. We've definitely got some more detail on the transfers that have happened over the week. We dropped a few absolute gems this week, a few clangers, but it happens. Let's get the show on the road. Obviously, please like and subscribe. Press the button now. Just press the like button now. Like now. Like you should have done it when you first went in, but I'm going to allow it. Press it now. Share it. And if you haven't subscribed, why not? If you come here every week and you've not pressed the subscribe button, there's a problem. There's a big problem. Get it done. Anyway, let's crack on. First of all, we've got Crystal Palace, one of my kind of local teams. I've been seeing quite a lot. Played the ground a few times myself. And the fan base, I love them. Love the fan base down there. The atmosphere is always buzzing down at Selhurst Park. It's got that family vibe with a bit of extra rawness on Crystal Palace. And it's always a good day out there. They finished the league in 14th after a very, very, very poor end to the season, which had Roy Hodgson being sort of rumours going about that Roy Hodgson could potentially lose his job. Roy Hodgson's a man who gets very unfairly judged. He's done an excellent job since he's been at Crystal Palace, stabilising the team and slowly moving them up in the league. And laying the foundations potentially for the next manager coming in the future. But this guy definitely deserves a lot of respect, just not for what he's done with Palace, but what he's done previously with many other clubs. And he is well renowned on the European and well seen as a manager. But Steve, how do you think Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace have done last season in general?
Well, at the beginning, the Eagles were flying, weren't they? At the start. I mean, every Premiership side was, they was pretty scared to play them. I mean, the team I support, I wasn't too keen on waiting for them to come up, and teams were taking them a lot more seriously than in other seasons. Then all of a sudden, everything went peaked on. Disaster struck. Seven league defeats in a row, which led, I think it was 1 point in 8 games. Which led, like you said, to serious, fault in the boardroom, in the fans, saying that they, Roy Hodgson's to go. It just shows you how opinions change in football. Like 1 minute you're getting, bombarded with praise, and then the next minute the board, the fans, they're pushing you towards the exit doors. There you are in European places, beating United away, picking up draws against Arsenal and Man City, and then seven games later, you're struggling. and then they're sitting in 14th.
Jerome, what happened to Crystal Palace this season? What can we put it down to?
Well, one of the major problems, I think, when you look at Palace's season overall, is the amount of goals that they scored. They only scored 31 league goals, and that is a big problem for any team. It's amazing when you think about it, how well they actually done in the end, considering they only scored those amount of goals.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe didn't start off too well in terms. Obviously, in the summer they sold Wan-Bissaka. They got a hell of a lot of money for him, and they done very well to keep hold of Zaha. But when you look at Zaha's output last season, he only scored 4 league goals. But even though he only scored those goals, he's their sort of, I guess he's their talisman, isn't he? He's the one player they look to.
Yeah.
But as you guys said initially, people sometimes have a little bit of a dig at Roy Hodgson, but he always he produces the goods in the end, because when he first took over, they were in danger of falling out of the league. And he's done well, stabilised. I mean, if they didn't have such a terrible end to the season, like you said, they could have easily finished 10th, 9th, 10th, somewhere like that. A bit of a really up and down season for them in the end.
Yeah, I think one thing that you put Zaha's stats as such down to, he's been moved from the left-hand side to the central position because Jordan Ayew plays out on that left. And they seem to be getting a bit more out. Although, I think maybe they haven't got someone to sit in that middle, and Jordan Ayew can sit on that left, and Wilfred Zaha can play in that middle. So I think it may be a case of, because he's more adaptable in certain positions, they've put him in there just because he can do the job, whereas other people can't play in that position, whereas he can. So because we all know how good Wilfred Zaha is, I mean, and he's shown that so far this season as well. Apart from Wilfred Zaha, Steve, who would you put down as another one of their main players that produced the goods?
Well, I was going to say Jordan Ayew. He's an absolute excellent buy. I mean, he ended up being their top goal scorer, which goes with a little bit of what you said with Zaha. It's like they swapped. And Zaha became the assist instead of the main man to score all the goals, which I think was giving him too much pressure. They've got in Ayew, and where they've paid only 2.5 million for him, and he finished with becoming their top goal scorer. The biggest disappointment, which I was excited to see, was Max Meyer.
Same here.
I mean, I think that they paid something in there 20-something million for him. And I think Arsenal were after him at one point, and Manchester United. And he definitely sort of didn't live up to expectations. But Jordan Ayew, definitely I would say was their top player last season.
So as for players that Crystal Palace need to get in to sort of step up, what positions do you feel they need? Obviously a striker, really, isn't it? So who are they linked with, Steve, with regards to maybe bringing someone in that position?
Well, they're linked to Ryan Brewster. But that's looking more and more like Sheffield United, as I'll explain to you more later in the show. But they was linked to him.
They were linked to Ollie Watkins, so they're obviously looking to bring in a forward player. Yeah,
they're also linked to, which was probably their most strongest link, which has come to date now recently. His Seye Beriyama, because of Roy Hodgson's words, yesterday.
Oh,
when he was asked about him.
Oh, what did he say?
Well, he said he was very interested in the player, and it was negotiations were going on, but they was very difficult negotiations. And it's in the hands of at the moment in Steve Parish.
Okay.
So that's pretty. You couldn't really get any stronger than that.
Yeah.
So they're actually in talks with, say, Barry Armour. So, and that's from Roy Hodgson. You know.
So, and as we was talking earlier, when we were saying that Wilfred Zaha's maybe moved into a position which doesn't necessarily suit him the most, although he's started very well so far this season. They did bring in a Brighton Eze. I've butchered his name, so I apologise, man. But I know you had a little look at him previously, Jerome. How long do you think it would take for him to sort of adapt to the Premier League, to his style as well? Because his style's very expressive, very flary. Yeah. He needs to get used to the pace before he can actually show the best of him. How long do you think that would take for him to sort of settle in?
Yeah, it's a hard one to judge because obviously he came from the Championship, and sometimes it does take players a while to settle in. I think it's one of those where I think he's got a lot of talent, and he just needs games. I think the more he plays, the more he'll become accustomed to maybe the pace of the Premier League as opposed to the Championship. I think sort of sitting him on the bench, making sub appearances every so often, I think it will then drag out and then take longer for him to adapt. I think they've spent a lot of money on him for Palace, so maybe if he's playing, maybe by Christmas perhaps he can get into his stride.
Yeah.
But as I say, he's definitely got the talent to succeed at Palace, and I think he gives them something that they haven't had before, a bit of creativity from the centre of the pitch, where maybe in the past their central midfielders have been more, maybe workhorses is a bit, maybe isn't doing them justice enough, but they haven't really had a creative spark from the middle, and that's what Eze will bring to them if given the chance.
Yeah, I think the last one they had was Kabay, didn't they? And
yeah,
I think he was one who was sort of pulling the strings for them in that position there. So, and I don't think they've had someone there since, have they?
No, and I guess Kabay was more of a playmaker. I think this guy's a bit different to a playmaker. He's a bit more attacking than a playmaker. I think Kabay maybe sat a bit deeper in the midfield, kept things ticking over, whereas this guy can really sort of make the difference in the final third.
The player that they've really got doing that job at the moment, it's like chalk and cheese, which is sort of like Milosevic. He sits in that round about that area, and when you would assume that Milosevic would go out, and you would think that Eze would, once he's in because I don't know too much the player, but like Jerome said, what I have seen of him is like pure class, but they're just like chalk and cheese, you know.
Yeah,
and it's what Palace need.
Yeah, and Eze's very much. He reminds me of he's like England's version of Taarabt. He's like he plays like a winger, a flary winger, but he sits more centrally. So I think once he does settle, I've seen this. There's been flashes of him. He's still very raw. He's still got a lot to learn just to get up to the pace of the Premier League, because it is completely different. And what I do like is he's still trying to do what he done in the Championship. So he's still got an element of fearlessness. He's still got that confidence inside him, where he believes in himself to take that on and bring it to the Premier League. I just think it's a matter of time before he gets to the pace of that, so that he knows when he can use it well. Crystal Palace have always had a well-renowned youth team. The setup's excellent down there. I've been down there myself. For years and years, they've been pumping out talent. And just to name a few, Brandon Averio, is a very skillful player. Hopefully get to see him coming through, maybe in a few cup games or something like that. Naira Kirby, I don't know whether you managed to find anything on him, Jerome?
Yeah, had a look at him. His middle name is actually Jerome. Yeah.
Solid.
So he's 20 years old. He's a centre midfielder. He's a little bit similar to Eze, a little bit. Maybe slightly more defensive.
Yeah.
He was a member of the England under-17 team when they won the under-17 World Cup, and he played in 6 out of the 7 games. He actually made his debut against Bournemouth last week in the EFL Cup, and it looked as though we mentioned, or you just mentioned before, about it looks like, I don't know if he looked like he's got a lot of ability, but it looked as though he was maybe playing it safe a bit. And that's what you sometimes find, is you find the youth player will break in, and instead of doing what they've done throughout their career so far, they try and play it a bit safe. And that's what I saw with Nia Kirby. But he moves the ball very quickly. He gets the ball, he opens his body, passes it quickly. Got nice movement off the ball after he's passed it. He looks like a nice player. He spent some time on loan at Blackpool.
That's what I think you needed, though.
Yeah, he played 11 times for Blackpool. But look, he represented England at youth team level, so there's obviously something there. And he just made his debut, so it'd be interesting to see if he features more for the first team this season.
Yeah, when England did win the under-17s World Cup, he was one of the players that they said is one to watch afterwards. I remember. So it's the fact that he's still about and starting to come through and get first team appearances now. I mean, it's still early in the season, so he's obviously held in pretty good stead. So good luck to him. Another player who's just come through is Tyreek Mitchell. He's got such a similar story to that of when Nathaniel Klein came through, because I know a lot of people at Crystal Palace previously, and when Nathaniel Klein come through, they won't be ashamed to say they didn't really feel like he was one that they really took much notice of as with regards to pushing into the first team anytime soon. At that point, they had Danny Butterfield in their right back, and I think Danny Butterfield was smashing in goals at that time as well. He's doing really well for Crystal Palace, but he got injured, so they brought in Nathaniel Klein for a game on the youth because their backup right back was out as well, and he came in and they couldn't get him out of the team, and then from then on, Nathaniel Klein went on to Southampton or Liverpool. England caps and so on. So, and this seems like a very similar story to Tyreek Mitchell, where the right back's got injured and he's come through and looks like he's doing his thing. I don't know how much you guys have seen of him so far this season.
Only a little bit, but I know he's only played a few games and he's been up against some. He's a left back and he's played against some rapid wingers. He played against Dan James, obviously yesterday, who's not the slowest. He's played against Adama Traore of Wolves. Lucas Moura. Sometimes it's one of those things where a player doesn't get a chance, and a little bit of luck. Obviously, unfortunately, Van Arnold got injured. That's why he's got his chance.
He's taken it.
Yeah, it's what happens sometimes. That's a little bit of luck's involved.
Another thing, he went into my dream team. So keep on doing what you're doing, Tyreek, because you're absolutely smashing it. Looking solid, energetic up and down that flank. Keep it going. I'm not top of the league, but eventually I will be. So
he ain't stop going on about it. I'll tell you.
Calvert Lewin as captain. Predictions for this season, Steve. They've started off well, 2-2.
Yeah.
Wilf Zaha scored 3 goals.
Well,
what's going on?
Well, they are. And they've certainly got a good enough team to get to 14th again, or certainly a bit higher, especially now they've got, I don't know how you pronounce it, Ezia in their side. It won't be too long before he gets into the team. A lot's going to depend on whether Wilfried Zaha stays or not. As some, he is their talisman. He's the fact of what Roy Hodgson said about Said Beriyama, does sort of, makes you think that Zaha might be on his way. I'd say they'd finish. They won't be at relegation. I'm gonna say they'll finish about 15th, around about 15th, 16th.
All right. Rome, what are you saying for Crystal Palace season?
Yeah, maybe something slightly higher than that. Maybe between 12th and 14th. As we said, they're going to need to get someone else to score the goals. I think without the fans, they've got quite a hostile atmosphere with the ultras.
I love the ultras. I went down to a Crystal Palace West Ham game, mate, and I swear, mate, the atmosphere was rumbling. I was in the press place, and it was like you could feel the ground shaking. They're smashing on the sides of the window. Boom, boom. It's quality. It's quality.
You wouldn't want to be standing next to them with an headache, would you?
Mate, at points, I didn't want to be standing next to it. Full stop. Stuck in between them and West Ham, mate. It was a bit tense at times, mate.
So I thought they might miss, obviously, without there being crowds, they might miss that. The ultras being there, but they've obviously started off well, a couple of cracking results, and maybe 12th to 14th, somewhere around that mark.
Yeah, I mean, Crystal Palace, they're an established Premier League team now, and they're doing well to keep that going. What they just need to be careful of, because I know many teams around London, they've got their aspirations to be bigger, to just keep on growing and growing and growing. And you, as a club, you have to, but just do it at the right pace. It felt like when they brought in, what's his name, De Boer, that they wanted that more of a continental manager to show themselves in the European stage that they've got the name manager. They can bring in the name players now, but you just have to be careful that you're doing it at the right pace. There's nothing wrong with having a Roy Hodgson right now. You can slowly build them foundations to keep on building and building and building. There's nothing wrong with selling a Wilfred Zaha at the right time and then bringing in the right player to then move up and keep on bringing your youth through. I feel that Crystal Palace, if they can get in a striker that can smash them in some goals, they could have a really good season because they set their defence out right. They set the structure of their teams out right first, and then they look to hit teams on the counter. They look to they got some dangerous wingers, some dangerous forward players. They just need that talisman striker to share the burden of the rest of them. And if they could do that, they'd be a serious team. I'm not talking about top six or anything like that, but they could be a serious mid-table team that could maybe have a cup run or something. So I'm going to say in and around 13th, 14th, a bit like what Jerome said. I think they'll have a pretty good season. They usually tail off towards the end of the seasons because just the squad depth, players getting injured, things like that. So, and it's understandable.
They're on the beach, aren't they?
They're on the beach, mate. They've got the flip flops. I know the boys round them ways. They got the old flip flops on, the Supreme flip flops on. Hey, Steve.
That's it.
The old Ralph shorts are on, mate, and they're already on my beach.
What are you saying?
I'm saying there's a picture of Steve purposely flashing his Supreme flip flops off the other day. He tried to say it was an accident. That they were one foot had the soup and the other foot had the cream, perfectly in the picture, just like that.
Actually, that was genuinely
with his brand new hat and his brand new glasses as well. Slight head turn so you can see the Ralph sign there. So that's
I'll tell you what though.
Good.
Just quickly, the Crystal Palace fans deserve a cup run. They really do deserve a cup run this season. They got knocked out second round, third round.
Final under Pardew
last season. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, under Pardew. Yeah. Oh, Alan Pardew. Yeah, God, I forgot about him. Yeah.
Oh, Chocolado, mate. Got to love him.
Good cup run. Don't like no sort of dropping players. I hate that.
Oh, there's a few people asking where Simon is. Simon is ill, but don't worry, he's in the comments section. You can have your conversation with him still. You can ask Simon, do not give away any transfer news before the transfer roundup. Otherwise, you're going to lose our viewers, mate. You've got to draw them in. You've got to spoon feed them, mate. Yeah? All right. Thank you for that. Oh, I say thank you. What am I talking about? All right, Crystal Palace
You're
segment
welcome.
done. Bosh. Yeah,
You're
back to
welcome.
where I was. All right. Before we get onto the Brighton section, it wouldn't be a Crystal Palace and Brighton special if I didn't talk about the rivalry. The rivalry where people were thinking, how the hell is there a rivalry? This cannot be constituted as a derby. Where's the rivalry come from? Well, the rivalry stems from a little bit of to and fro in the 70s when Terry Venables and Alan Mullery were managers of Brighton and Crystal Palace, respectively. Brighton used to be called Brighton Dolphins and not the Seagulls. But the rivalry between the two teams built up so much that when Crystal Palace came down and used to chant the Eagles, Brighton would chant the Seagulls. So they were back and to and fro and said Eagles, Seagulls, Eagles, Seagulls, until one day the name stuck with Brighton and they changed their name to the Seagulls to what they are today. So, a little bit of football history for you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I mean, you just don't come on for transfer news. Give me a bit of football trivia to use in a pub quiz maybe one day. Yeah, that's where the rivalry stems from. It's pretty mad, but yeah, it's good. They need each other, which is why they're here together today. And now we're on to Brighton. Brighton, after a 15th position finish 2 seasons ago, followed by a 17th position finish, maybe Brighton were feeling that they were slightly going backwards and maybe in the midst of a relegation dogfight in the previous season, which led to having Chris Hughton replaced by I forgot his name. Graham
Potter.
Graham Potter. Oh my God, my mind went blank. By Graham Potter, sorry. But what are the differences in style? What are the differences in the way they play, the way they set up? And why do you think that Brighton made the change, Steve?
Why did they change the change? I have no idea why they made the change. Not like Graham Potter hasn't gone on to do well because he has.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, it did not sit right with me one little bit, and I'm sure it didn't sit right with others. He wasn't doing bad. It was building a side. Okay, it wasn't pulling up any trees, but he was doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Then Graham Potter come in, fair dues to him. Another member of the old young managers union. And when Graham Potter gets asked, he gets asked so many times. About being compared with Chris Hughton,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't like it.
You wouldn't, though, would you?
No, and he always says it because if he was like a normal fan, I don't think it actually sitted right with him in going and him taking over the way he did.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, definitely didn't sit right with me when Chris was sacked, or I wasn't too sure, or mutual agreement. They say mutual agreement. It's never mutual agreement. A load of old rubbish that is. And but to be fair, Graham Potter, he did well. He continued to improve the side, and you can't deny that. But you had left such a good foundation to build on.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just taking it on. Brighton are not a club with they've got abundant of riches, but yet, they both still managed to put together attractive side to watch, win, lose or draw. Both found a way of, on their day of beating anybody. the top side, the best sides, the top four. But unfortunately, both in Potter's trying to find that consistency, and which eventually he may do, but Houghton felt he wasn't doing. That was the only thing he couldn't find. I just hope Graham Potter does go on to find it.
I think what didn't sit right with me at the time was the fact that it seems to be a running theme with Chris Houghton is he gets a team up, gets it there for a season, and then he gets binned. I think that's what didn't sit right with me. It was like, again, what is it? What is it that's not going on right at these clubs for Chris Houghton? Jerome, did they make the right choice though? That's the most important thing.
Yeah. So in hindsight, although Chris Houghton is, I think, throughout football, no matter what team you support, he's a very popular figure, isn't he, Chris Houghton? No one's really got a bad word to say against him.
Yeah.
But the way Brighton finished the season, that was their best ever points total. I think Graham Potter's got them playing some really attractive football. They don't just punt it long, even though they might not have, they might not have better players than the opposition. I think they try and play football the right way.
Yeah.
And so even if you weren't particularly happy with them getting rid of Houghton, it's hard to sort of argue with them appointing Potter because they've ended up doing so well.
And I think that's the thing. That's the thing. You can't argue with it, can you?
No. A lot of people would want to argue with it, but to stick up for Chris, but you can't deny the job he's done. So.
You can't, and the players that they're bringing in seems to be working as well. I mean, like Neil Morphy, they got him in from Brentford? They got him in from, and he's made that step up. Scoring again this season as well. He's a dangerous player, works hard, very technical player, good pace, just an all-round good solid striker. And now he seems to be getting the goals in. Who would you say their star players are? Look, we just spoke about Izzy. It's going to take these players time to step up from the Championship because I was speaking with my friends last night, and he's a Millwall fan, and he's saying that the step-ups so that's different because you've got so much more time in the Championship. You can make mistakes in the Championship which aren't going to sort of get jumped on all the time and you can sort of recover from. But in the Premier League, you make a mistake there, it's chances of goal. You've not got that time on the ball. People are shutting you down all the time. So you've got to think up there quicker. Like it's completely different. So
but it's like you said, Kieran, which I think we're going to touch on later. They found this way of doing it, which is quite different, unusual, and it's working.
And one thing that was the problem with Brighton as well, and the same with Crystal Palace, is they need that goal scorer. I think last season, if you look at a lot of their games, it's 1-0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, and it's that's the consistent theme running through their games. Is they're not getting over 2 goals. Apart from a striker, what else do you feel they need, Jerome?
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe a more creative midfielder, maybe an out-and-out winger. I mean, they've obviously just signed permanently the right back from Chelsea, Tariq Lamptey. People are absolutely raving about a lot. They really think he's got a really bright future. But that
ridiculous price as well.
How much they getting for?
I think they bought him for 3.3 million.
That's not bad, is it?
No. But as we're saying, because these teams aren't scoring loads of goals, their defence has to play well. And with Brighton, I've always liked their goalie, Matt Ryan. Obviously they've had a good sort of centre back pair, and they had Dunk and Duffy. And Dunk's been obviously linked with moves. Before he went to Brighton, I think he was linked with like Liverpool, Arsenal,
Chelsea most recently as well.
He's
a very good player.
I think Duffy's gone to Celtic, isn't he? Is
it on a season-long loan, isn't it? Yeah. So Steve, what players have they been linked with? What players have they brought in as well?
Well, Brighton are doing their thing a certain way. There's not many links with them this season at the moment. There's been some links which I think a bit silly. They've got a loanee called Ryan Longman, who's out there on loan at Wimbledon at the moment. He's pulling up trees. He scored the weekend. So apparently he's coming back in January. There's been fleeting links with Chris Woods and Troy Deeney. These were like fleeting links. But what they tend to be doing this season is that they spent 72 odd million in the season back. They paid Morpay. They paid 22, Webster 22, Tosan 20, and Clark 4. And they most of 3 out of 4 of them just failed. But they can't afford to do that again. So what Graham Potter's turned around and said is that their main aim is to improve the players out of the 72 million and make them better.
Can't knock that.
And it's working, and that's what they're doing. And also they've got 10 players on loan at the moment as well. They've got 10 playing players that they've got from other clubs to Brighton on loan.
Okay.
So they're building, and they've bought Lampy for 3.3 million, Moy for 4 million. So they're doing a good job. They've got the new bloke in, Paul Winstanley. He's came in, and with Potter, they're working together to build this side without really going and buying anybody this season. That's what I found.
And they just brought back, is it Ben White from Leeds as well, isn't it?
Ben White, yeah, he's already there, isn't he? Yeah.
So that was a bit of good business, loaning him out, getting some experience for the season, and bringing him back, and he's looking like a decent player. Brighton's youth academy. I mean, there's a couple of players. One of them being Taylor Richards. Previously of Man City. Jerome, I know you had a little look at him. Very, very good player.
Yeah, he was actually scouted when he was at Man City. He was scouted by the same guy that scouted Jadon Sancho. Centre midfielder, 19, got a wonderful range of passing. And I believe he left City not because they wanted to get rid of him, but because he wanted to play first team football. Yeah. And he's now not on loan at Doncaster from Brighton. Now, have a guess what his middle name is.
Not Jerome, is it? I tell you what, I picked this week, didn't I?
That's it.
Anything that happens in there, I'll find a way of getting some praise for it myself. Even if it's just Geeze's middle name, there's nothing to do with it.
And also, when he left Man City and went to Brighton, Inter Milan and Monaco were interested in him.
Yeah,
he ended up going to Brighton, and maybe because he just felt that he would get more of a chance there. But they put him on loan, maybe to just get some first team football, with the view that when he comes back, he'll hopefully go into their team.
Did you manage to see any of his tricks that he's done in like a five-a-side game or anything like that? Did you manage to see some of that? Oh my word! This kid, Tyler Richards, type in Tyler Richards into Instagram or YouTube, and you'll find him on this page called FDTV, and that's a place where a lot of really, really skillful youngsters, like street footballers, but they bring it into an actual game scenario. Jadon Sancho used to also be there as well, and some of the stuff you see this kid do, it's ridiculous. It's like Ronaldinho. Honestly, he is so talented, this kid, and I hope that Brighton can get him to the level where he's playing Premier League football. Because if they can, they've got a serious player on their hands in this kid. Serious player. Another one, Aaron Connolly. He's his last full season in under 23s. He got 11 goals in 15 games. Got 2 assists. He also got 5 goals in 3 games in the EFL Trophy. This kid, Now, you may have seen him a couple of seasons ago or last season before, at the end of the season when he scored 2 past Tottenham to beat Tottenham. And then you thought, this kid's a talent. But then it kind of disappeared a little bit.
Yeah.
But this kid, he reminds me of, I don't know if it's like whether it's from Ireland or a background might be. A lot of people around you've seen this kind of footballer on a Sunday league tearing up teams. This kid's that kid. He's taken that game into a professional level, and he's still young. And I really, really, really rate this kid.
Yeah.
Anytime he gets the ball, he just wants to go and score a goal. He just wants to take on people. I don't know if anyone else watched him or I've just taken all your words.
No,
go on, Jerome, feel free.
He's like you were saying, so he only scored a few goals last season, but his play, I think, deserves so much more than the goals that he scored. Say it's 3 in 25 games. He deserves more than that. His effort is incredible. He's a proper live wire. And I remember watching him against Arsenal and thinking, God, this guy's excellent. Didn't know anything about him. It's like it's one of those like, God, where's he come from?
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, he's young still only 20. You just hope that he you can see he's got a lot of potential, and you just hope that he's gonna sort of fulfill it, because he's a very exciting player to watch. But I agree with you, yeah. And that was his first start. Those goals he scored against Spurs. Yeah,
he's the perfect type of person you would tell. Like what Jerome just said. Why you shouldn't look at stats.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
You should not look at stats. I hate stats. Right, I don't keep asking me for stats. But this kid, right, you should not look at stats, because, like Jerome said, people would look at that and say, 3 goals in 20 games. They think, we don't do nothing. Right, but please go and have a look at him. He does everything. He
does. And he can score from anywhere as well. He's a danger all the time. Like I said, always. What he just needs to tidy up is his decision making. It's because he's so eager to score that goal, and it's in his blood. It's in his blood to score goals. If you stuck him in the Championship, he's scoring 20 goals minimum. He's scoring them goals because he'll get enough chances to bury him in the net, and he's scoring worldies. What he needs now, because he's not a player that I'd loan out. He's a player that I'd keep with me. Because he needs to be. He's ready. He just needs his decision making. That's it. What it is. Whether it's because he wants to score so much, he hold that ball a bit longer to try and take on the man rather than get that. His last thought is to pass it off, as opposed to look for the 1-2 to get into the position to then score. But I don't mind that, because he's so eager to do it. He just puts in so much effort. He's infectious. And I hope that we see a lot more of him. He seems to have settled. I've watched a couple of interviews of him, and he seems to be settling in again. And I think he said himself, it's about time he scored, because he needed it himself. But yeah, I think there's going to be big things. Plus he's representing the old island, so I'm a happy man. Nice. Predictions for next season, Stephen, or this season for Brighton.
Well, going by today, they weren't that much problem, was they? No, I think this is going to be a good season for Brighton. I'm looking at what the players they've got. The players that plays like Mbappe and Lampe and Moy. The keeper Ryan, I think this is going to be a decent season for them. I don't think they're going to be struggling like they did last season. He's been there a while now, Potter, so he's getting to know the club and the players. I'd say around about 16th, 15th.
All right. Jerome, what do you think?
I think as long as they can keep Mbappe fit because he's obviously their main goal scorer. If you can score goals, you've always got a chance. And their defence is pretty solid as well. And with Lamptey at right back, they've strengthened there. So I think probably similar to Palace again, maybe 13th, 14th, somewhere around there.
Yeah. I think the same. I think what Brighton have potentially over Crystal Palace is Mbappe. The fact that he's on form right now, he scored 2 yesterday, didn't he? Or was it 2 today? And he scored in both games this season already. If he can continue that form, that's the kind of season you need, which will take you from a 14th in the league to something like a 9th or a 10th in the league. Is your goal scorer, even if it's just in patches, and he scored most of his goals at the start of the season. It builds that confidence in the team, which then pushes you on, which then turns them losses into draws or then draws into wins. And I think this could be a good season for Brighton. I'm not saying they're going to do anything, tear up trees or do anything special, but I think they could solidify the Premier League status again for another season and maybe push them a little bit further.
They're doing it slowly, aren't they?
They're
attracting big players now. Lallana's gone there, Ben White's gone there.
Exactly. And I rate that people are doing it slowly. I don't like this rush. I've seen far too many teams get relegated and then go off into obscurity. And you got to be smart about this Premier League survival. Sometimes it's just about surviving.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And it's that time. Before that, please go like and subscribe. Please go and follow every single platform, because transfer deadline day is coming up. We're going to be doing interviews with people from across the globe. We're going to be doing interviews with people from all walks of life. No, not all walks of life. You're not going to walk out my front door and just grab a homeless person off the street and ask them questions about football. I mean, we could do, because everyone loves football. We're going to ask experts about football. We're going to ask them about the latest transfers happening in their country, the latest deals that are happening in the Premier League, in the Bundesliga, in Italy, the lot. We're covering Russia, everywhere. And that's not just on transfer deadline day. That's all the way up until the last week especially. But on transfer deadline day, it is going to be manic, crazy, all night till the clock strikes 12. I will be on there online somewhere, giving you the latest, the final transfers coming through the door. Yes, it's going to age me, trust me. But it's all for you. So make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow, hit your notifications, because at any point we could be going and telling you that there's a party deal, boom, an hour deal, boom, a Chelsea deal, a Man City deal. There's a lot going on with Man City as well.
It'll be here first, boys. It will be here first.
On the YouTube. It will be on the YouTube. So make sure you come and follow the YouTube. Yeah. Next week we are going to be on Twitter, on our special one, but we won't tell you what team it is yet. We'll leave that until after the show. But it is time for the transfer roundup. Here we go. Runner Alex Runnison is all but complete. He's on his move to Arsenal. I think the medical is early this week. Manchester United are interested in Ivan Perisic, Douglas Costa, or Kingsley Coman if the Jadon Sancho deal is done, which it pretty much is. There was news last week basically saying the transfer's not over. Man United are still interested. Dortmund will still sell. I was like, well, what's happened? Well, apparently they've tied up something with Jadon Sancho's agent. So nothing's happened. Like that's nothing has happened. Unless something happens with Dortmund and Man United, nothing's happened. Dortmund have set the price. Man United need to pay the price. Man United won't pay the price. Dortmund won't sell. We've said that all along, and nothing has changed. So nothing's going to happen with this deal. Why? Because Man United don't want to fork out 108 million for Jadon Sancho this season. It's it. That's it. That's just simple facts. So will the deal happen? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I think they just need to move on, because I just feel like, I said it before, I'm going to find that piece from Kicker where they basically they spoke about what Woodward is doing with regards to this whole transfer saga, making it very much look like Man United are still pressing for the transfer. Man United trying everything they can to get Jadon Sancho, when really Dortmund set out the price early doors. Man United knew the price. So all this toing and throwing and we're going to keep on fighting, it's all just for show. When really he knows deep down inside that he don't want to spend 110 million on Jadon Sancho, and he's probably going to get someone else in the long run. But he's got to make it look like he's making an effort to do so. And that was written about 3 weeks ago in Kicker. And this is exactly what's happening. So I'm going to find that article and put it on the page, because it's very good read. Lucas Torreira will not be joining Torino. Personal terms were agreed. The fee was agreed. But the final things that needed to be sewn up were basically the structured deal, when all the money is going to be paid, and Torino didn't want to... basically, they were saying that they weren't happy with Arsenal's the way they wanted the payments of the deal. They weren't happy with Arsenal's demands, so they pulled out the deal. But out of nowhere, as if by magic, the most stubborn of stubborn Spanish teams of all time in Atletico Madrid have decided that they want Lucas Torreira themselves. I couldn't believe it. You couldn't write it. After all this toing and froing with Thomas Partey, they've decided that they want Lucas Torreira. Will there be a swap deal? Personally, I've been told nothing too much on the deal at the moment. I got told this literally. These boys can vouch for it. There was a message while we was doing the sound checks. I put out the message earlier, but I didn't get too much from that. I just got told that the Lucas Torreira deal's off, and Atletico Madrid are front runners to get him. Then, like an hour later or 2 hours later, I'm then told that the Atletico Madrid deal is actually happening. Whether that's going to be completed or not, there's still quite a lot to do, but the deal's actually in motion. I think that's pretty much down to Arsenal to make the decision on whether they want to take the fee that Atletico Madrid are offering. Whether it'll be a swap deal, I doubt it. I think Atletico Madrid want money, show the bank they're getting money. I myself would say it's going to be 2 separate deals for now. Until I hear that it's a swap deal, I'm going to say it's 2 separate deals. And at the moment, the first deal that looks like it's getting done is Lucas Torreira to Atletico Madrid. But we'll keep you posted on that. David Alaba saga continues. Now, you're probably wondering why the hell Kieran keeps on putting up long thread posts of David Alaba situation. Why he keeps, every time David Alaba pops up, is a picture of Kieran like next to him. It's because David Alaba, I got a message saying David Alaba is going to be playing the Premier League. He's going to be moving to a club within the next 2 weeks. Okay, it's been a bit more than 2 weeks, but that little bit of thread that I managed to get my fingers onto is now a full jumper. Yeah, we went from he's going to be playing in the Premier League in 2 weeks to ringing around asking people, speaking to the right names. We got nothing, but we weren't having it. We kept on digging, and I tell you what. First, the transfer exchange said it first. This isn't just a said it between each other. We put it out there first. No one put it out there. No one. And then, out of nowhere, we were told that you were right. David Alaba has had talks with Man City. Since then, Bild came out and said David Alaba has had talks with Man City. Just wanted to quickly touch on the David Alaba situation. Is there really any coming back from David Alaba to Bayern Munich after the comments from Uli Hoeneß? Steve, I know you looked at it, definitely.
Yeah, obviously I've been sort of very interested in all what's going on with David Alaba. What Uli Hoeneß said, there's no going back from that. He ain't gone. In fact, his father, who's has turned around and said there's no going back from that. That's quoted. That's on German television. That's in the German newspaper. That's quoted. That's not, that's not in the Sun or the Mirror or something like that. This is in Bild and Kicker. He's come out and said, "This is what I want," which was 25 million euro a year. Juliunis has come out and just told him to basically stick it. In so many words, there's been a lot of 60-40, I'd say, Bayern Munich fans. For some of them don't like the fact that Bayern Munich that Alaba's acting this way. Personally, the guy's been there since he was 16 years old, and I think he's got every right to earn. It's not like he's some average player. What I'd like to say, I'll go into Man City later, but David Alaba is in regular contact with Manchester City. It's not just one talks. They're having regular talks. Whether they'll go there eventually, I don't know. I've heard that he wants the £25 million a year deal still from Manchester City. And I've heard that they will pay it.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you? Not being funny, this is David Alaba. When I first heard about Bayern Munich wanting him wanting 25 million, and I read a lot of the comments. How can you expect that? I was like, nah. David Alaba would get that from 4 or 5 teams in the Premier League because you're getting him for a minimal fee. He could go on a free next season. You could probably get David Alaba for about £30 million. And that's being generous. Yeah. He's got a year left on his contract. This is one of the best left-backs in the world. Yeah. And the best left-backs there has been in the world for the past 5 years, if not more. He is world class. We're not talking about just some one-season wonder. This geezer's been consistent for the past however many years he's been playing for Bayern Munich. He can play in any position from defensive midfielder backwards. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
What's upset his father is that he has been there since he was 16 years old. And
they're treating him like he's not.
Fair enough. But he's come out, Hunis has come out in the newspaper and done a big middle page spread, because in Bild and Kicker they do middle page spreads, and it was in a big middle page spread that saying that David Alaba's a piranha, was it?
Yeah, no. So
if you're the father of this kid, you're thinking my son's been here since 16 years old. No chance. There's no way. No way.
Yeah.
Well, there is a way. They might turn and say, "All right, we'll accept your lesser offer."
But they've said they're not going to. Did they turn around and offer Alcantara a new contract with his terms? No, he didn't. No. Jerome, if one of the, not hierarchy because he's a former, but in Germany they respect their elders. It's like that. If he says it's you're still a part of the team. If he's come out and said your agent is a piranha, and your dad has been lured in by greed, is there really any coming back from that?
You can't see it, can you? You can't see it, and I can't see him apologising for those comments either.
He's not going to.
Nah. But this, as you were saying, he's so talented. He could get into any team in the world.
Yeah,
literally any team in the world he'd get into.
Because he can play in so many different positions. He can play in so many different positions as well. He's like world class in 3 positions. When's that been? How's that known? World class. He's a world class left back. He's a world class centre back. He
right.
knows how to play on the right.
Yeah.
That's worth money, isn't it?
It's worth money. But they're not seeing that. But it's the thing with Bayern Munich. It's almost as if just being at the club, that's an extra 20 grand a week in it. That's like just like up there, not in your wallet. That's 20 grand, but just just for being at Bayern Munich, that's the prestige of being here. That should be enough to hold you here. Forget about the money. It almost seems it's a bit like that. So, yeah, who knows? Jamaican international Leon Bailey was a target for Tottenham. We get on the reason why, and is still a target for Everton. Steve, you got any more information on that?
Everton have got a free run with Leon Bailey. Spurs have pulled out, which I'm sure everybody's obvious to see why they've pulled out now, even though we couldn't work out why they was going to pull out 2 weeks ago. But obviously we can see now why he's pulled out.
Yeah.
So they've got a free run on that. 35 million offered. Leverkusen want 40. But I'm assuming they can get round.
They've got
that.
to meet in the middle there. The geezer wants to come to the Premier League. He wants to come to the Premier League. There's no one else in for him.
Yeah, and also they've also been sort of inquiring about Ivan Perisic as well. Basically, would he be interested in coming and watch the situation? But that's very fleeting. Nothing really major. And
they mean business, don't they?
Yeah, they're not mucking about.
They're not. Business. Ivan Perisic.
Yeah.
Ivan Perisic.
And then there's Tomori at Chelsea, which I was a bit worried about the other day. I was speaking to Kieran and I was told that this wasn't one that wasn't going to happen. And I didn't think it was even going to more happen when he started today. Or no, he didn't start for Chelsea. He came on as a sub. But now after Ancelotti was asked, so I was like that on tender. But he said, "I'm not going to comment about a Chelsea player, but I do want a centre half."
So that says, without saying it, the way sometimes you get told nothing in it or deals off, and then you think to yourself, really.
Yeah,
I've not really heard any other links to any defenders still. So, all right.
They was linked to Todibo, but it's going to be quiet.
Wolves, I'm hearing, want him.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm hearing Wolves want him. But someone was telling me that they don't think that Barcelona will sell, and I was like, no. Obviously, you don't know the situation because Barcelona would sell you half their team if they could, if you wanted them. But I think he was saying in the end that maybe it's more of a decision of the player to come. But mate, if you're Wolves and you're looking at the situation and what they've built since they've got into the Premier League, you wouldn't be worried about going to Wolves and then being a team that may be struggling for Premier League survival. You know, you're going to a solid team. Just look at the players on the roster. Tottenham are interested in Eintracht Frankfurt striker, former Sporting Lisbon forward Bas Doors. Steve, is there anything in this? You know.
Yeah. There is something in it. But it's 5.5 million, so it's quite an easy one to do. He wants to leave. He wants to play in the Premiership. He's coming to sort of his last contract. He wants to go. The only problem is he'll be a squad player, and he'll be sitting on the bench. So there's a little bit of there's a little bit of thing regarding wages. He wants more wages
to sit on the bench
because of the yes. I've never heard that one before.
Well, he's resigned to the fact that he's not going to be getting on him ahead of Harry Kane, and I suppose that's what you've got to slightly worry about, isn't it? Because if you're trying to buy a striker that could potentially cover him for positions, be competitions, it's that fine balance. And if you got to worry a little bit if he says, "Yeah, I don't want to sit on the bench if you pay me a little bit more." You got to. I don't know.
I don't know what type of attitude that sends.
It's a bit of a mad one to me.
Give me some more money, I'll sit on.
It's like, do you want to play?
No, I'm all right. Just give me some dosh.
More money. All right. I mean, is what it is. Steve, Man City. There was links earlier on in the week with Upamecano. We put out saying that Koulibaly, the deal. I mean, they put a deadline. They put a deadline in because basically they have the lovers' tiff and they don't speak to each other, so they have an intermediate sort of trying to sort out the deal.
I think the deadline's is tomorrow. I think the deadline's tomorrow for it. But going by what I've been had a little chat today. There's with the Alaba thing. What's going on? I mean, Jules Koundé is now staying in Spain. He's had talks with City, and he's come out and been quoted that he said he's staying in Spain with Seville. I think it's Seville, maybe not. Maybe got that wrong.
Yeah, it's Seville.
Yeah, it is Seville. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Then there's Jimenez of Atletico Madrid. The president has come in and said that Man City have made a bid, 50 million plus bonuses.
Okay.
But they're not. They want more because they wanted something ridiculous like 80 something. Diego Costa. He has told everybody, his son, his mother, the next door neighbour's dog, that after early he's been talking to City, but he's not going there. He's staying in Seville. And then there's Upamecano, who talks were continuing, but apparently Leipzig wants the deal to be done in January. Personal terms are agreed, but then again, this is Man City, so I would have thought everybody's personal terms would be agreed. Whoever goes there. But yeah. So with the Alaba one, there's three there that feels like have been elbowed because they want him to be want them to be the stay on the bench, not the first choice. It spells to that a little bit. And Upamecano's, they're quite happy with the 58 million, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's been offered.
All right. So, Man City are going to be a danger next season as well. They're serious. Jack Grealish has signed a new long-term contract with Aston Villa up until 2025. West Ham want Rob Holding on loan, according to the Mail. Mbappe. So Mbappe, yeah. So this one, let's discuss. Mbappe, has basically mapped out his career already. This geezer's a G. He's got 2 years left on his current contract at PSG. He's already told him he will not be signing. He's got 3 years left. He's already told him he's not going to be signing a new deal, which means at the end of next season, he'll have 2 years left, which means PSG will have to sell him at a reduced fee, which means that he already had this plan. He knows that if he has 2 years left in his contract, PSG will have to sell him at a reduced fee because so they can get their money for him. And he set that out, said that he won't sign a new contract. Where does he go? Where does Mbappe end up? And, I mean, wherever he goes, it's going to be devastating. Rumours has it that the clubs that he's interested in are the obvious: Real Madrid, Liverpool, and the other one, surprisingly, was he liked the sound of Man United. But I'm sure that's a project that would have changed in his mind since then. Obviously, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out there being very shaky at United, I'm sure that was an old, maybe younger dream, but is not something that you'd carry through now. But if someone like Liverpool were to get him, then surely they'd be unstoppable, Jerome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they look pretty good today, Liverpool. I know they played 45 minutes against 10 men, but what a front three of Salah, Mane and Mbappe. It's incredible. Incredible. Yeah. Amazing.
Steve. Game over if Liverpool was to get Mbappe?
Yeah, but where would he play?
Well, they'd have to sell one of the top three, wouldn't they?
I mean, Firmino's the first one that comes to mind. If move Salah or Mane into the centre and put Dembele out on the left, which is where he likes to play, doesn't it? He likes to play on the left.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got Dembele, Mane, and Jesus,
The thing
it's unbelievable.
Is Mbappe an upgrade on Salah or Mane? Like,
I know what you mean, but Mbappe's what, 21?
yeah.
And I mean, if you buy an Mbappe, it's I know what you mean.
It's a decent sub.
It's not a bad replacement. It's not a bad replacement. And the other one's obviously Real Madrid. I mean, if he goes Liverpool, he'll probably end up with Real Madrid in the end.
What Man City be interested in? You never mentioned Man City.
This was preference of him. Man City.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, this is Man City. I'm sure would be all over him. You'd be silly not to.
They've got to be looking for a striker, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Well, Man City are looking for a striker. They're looking for a long-term replacement for Sergio Aguero, aren't they? They don't feel that Gabriel Jesus is the man for that, and and they're looking for someone to replace him. You said previously, Steve, Martinez was one of them. There's not many strikers around that fit that mould to take over from someone like Sergio Aguero and hitting the ground running. That's why it's very hard for Gabriel Jesus. He's a top player. He can only ever be the second man to Aguero. He's not. I
think the perfect. I don't know what Jerome thinks, but I think the perfect player for Man City, who would be Premiership ready, would Jimenez at Wolves.
Yeah, but
I think if you had him up front,
don't you think you're changing the style? Don't you think you're changing the style if you've got Jimenez?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's the thing.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
I think that with Man City, you're going to be going for someone with a bit of an all-rounder, but someone with pace and is a goal scorer. Jimenez is a bit more of a front line striker, centre forward.
I guarantee, whether it's this window or next window or the window after, that they'll go for Haaland. They'll go.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
He's rapid. He's rapid. He's rapid as well. He's a unit and he's rapid.
Yeah, he'll be prolific. He would be prolific for them.
He would.
That's the difference maybe with the guy from Wolves is he's an excellent player, but to be the centre forward for Man City, you got to have like 20. You got to be 25, 30 goals, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Jerome, you've seen a lot of Ireland. You've seen a lot more than me. Is he like? Is he that? I mean, I know he's good, but is he that good?
I think if you said to me you've got unlimited money, you can sign one centre forward. Yeah. I think he'd be the one. I don't know who else I'd have instead of him.
He's a bit of an. For me, I like that he's all round. He's good in the air. He's good with his feet. He's strong and he's rapid.
Ticks a lot of boxes.
He's an all-round striker, but he's excellent at all of it.
They're comparing him already to Lewandowski, aren't they?
That's what he's like, though.
To take over from
he's a very similar type of striker with regards to Lewandowski's got everything. Where some might Sergio Aguero, he might be good in the air if he can get to the ball, but he ain't 6 foot plus tall. Whereas Haaland is, he's 6 foot plus. He's unit.
Like outside the box, inside the box, left foot, right foot, in the air.
Exactly.
Everything.
Exactly. He's like the new breed, the new era of the hybrid of striker.
I tell you what. Just before we go on, he's a bit Zlatan Ibrahimovic in the way he plays.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Not in attitude.
Maybe. As long as he backs it up like Zlatan, mate. You can't knock it. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's contract was finally announced this week, and it was a pretty good video. We all loved it. Branislav Ivanovic has signed for West Bromwich Albion. Tottenham have signed Sergio Reguilon and Gareth Bale. Wow. Wow. Look, football fans would be excited about seeing Gareth Bale back in the Premier League. How good is it to have Gareth Bale back in the Premier League, Jerome?
Well, I've got a lot of mates that are Spurs fans, and they absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. It depends, because I think the last couple of seasons, obviously, he hasn't played too much football, but everyone knows that if he's fit, he's a danger. He's a danger to anyone. So it'd be interesting to see how he does. Obviously, since he's been away, can he? Is he the same player? I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's going to be incredible, like he was, when he left the Premier League. But for the league itself, it's amazing to have Gareth Bale back. But I think he's going to miss the first month, isn't he? He's injured.
Yeah, well, he's unfit. He's unfit, and they're saying after the international break he'll be back. Fitness. Steve, Gareth Bale. How good is it to have him back in the Premier League?
I mean, once he's fit, sorry, Jerome, but
Hey, mate, that's been trademarked. You're gonna get an invoice for the door, mate.
Do you see how nervous I am because I have to say his name first, so I know that. But it's I'm so excited to have him back. I can't wait to watch him. He's a monster, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a monster. When he's on form, I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo hated him, and the reason why he hated him is because he knew he was rivaling him. He knew on his day he could come on that pitch, right, and he could be not obviously consistently, but on his day, he knew that he could be just as good as him on his day. He's just like a unit, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's massive.
He's a proper athlete. He's a proper athlete.
He's fast. He's big. He's got everything. I mean, when he plays against my team, right? I know he's going to rip it up. Already. I just know already.
Yeah.
Right, but to be honest with you, it's great to have him back. I'm looking forward to seeing him back, and the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo wouldn't congratulate him when he was scoring goals, I think says it all.
Everton are looking to offload Theo Walcott, Alex Iwobi, and Moise Kean. It's a shame about Moise Kean.
Wow.
Emi Martinez is signed for Aston Villa. Good luck, Emi. Bayer Leverkusen want to sign Say Kolasinac. We'll keep you posted on that deal. It looks like it's going slow. It's going very slow. To the point he's actually playing at the moment. Say Kolasinac to Bayer Leverkusen is still on. Middlesbrough have signed Payok and former Arsenal forward Chuba Akpom. That was finalised this week. We've got a bit of information that if Lacazette was sold, Arsenal potentially be looking at a player called Marcos Paulo. Jerome, you had a little look at him. What kind of a player is he? Who is he? What was he saying?
Yeah, so he's 19 years old, plays for Fluminense. If I were to describe him like one of the current strikers in the Premier League, I'd say he's a little bit like Firmino in the fact that he's not a prolific out-and-out goal scorer. He's someone that comes deep, drops into midfield. During the games, he averages like a hell of a lot of passes for a striker. Normally, the strikers aren't heavily involved in like the build-up play, whereas this guy he's constantly sort of. You'll be watching the game. He'll always be in the midfield. He'll always be like linking play and coming back, helping the build-up. Very sort of well-rounded because he drops deep. He's technically sound with his passing, but he has got a bit of trickery in his locker as well. Played for all the Portuguese youth teams, even though he was born in Brazil, but still only very young. But yeah, one to watch.
All right, we're keeping an eye on him. Steve, Liverpool. Got an update on Liverpool for me?
Yeah, not just a couple of things on Liverpool. Our friend Ozan Kabak. Our friend Ozan Kabak. He's an improved bid. Will go in 100%. I've been told before the window closes. Very good source, very good contact, very close to us. told me that. So expect that before the end of the window.
All right.
And the way Schalke got absolutely hided on the other night, got beat 8-0 by Bayern Munich. I think he'd probably want to get out as quick as possible.
Yeah, you would. Wouldn't you?
The other one is our friend Ryan Brewster to Sheffield United is now picking up pace. The offer that's now being considered after it wasn't, they kept the board and just kept putting it in the bin, but it's now seriously being considered as after Chris Wilder has personally spoken to Klopp, whether that was on the phone or whether he's gone to see him, but Wilder's gone with the hierarchy to talk to the Liverpool main men, and the Ryan Brewster one now, I think it's going to go through.
Oh, that's good.
I'm just playing. I'm putting it on the line there.
That's good.
I think it might go through, especially if Wilder's gone to speak to Klopp, and that's 100%. Yes.
I think Ryan Brewster's at that. Ryan Brewster's still young, but he's got the talent to play. He's got the talent to play first team football. So I think it'd be a waste sitting and playing the under-23s for Liverpool. I don't even think it'd be worth him going into the Championship again. He done really well when he went for Swansea, so it's time to see him cut his teeth at Premier League level with a team and just get consistent runs. Someone like Sheffield United, they need a goal scorer, so he should get games.
Well, they've bought Jota, haven't they, already? They've already got Jota coming.
Liverpool, yeah, Jota. Completed the sign
and
of Diego Jota.
Rumours are that they're signing in January Jeremy Doku as well, so... if that happens, then.
So who's going? Because if you're buying Jota, if you're buying Jota and Doku, you got 5 positions for the. Is it? You got Divock Origi, he might be going. You got Curtis Jones. It's they're going to keep 6 3 and 3. How are they going to do it? They're going to. Doku's 18. Doku's 18, but
maybe they wouldn't expect him to play anyway. And elect to Liverpool is a bit of a. Maybe you'd wait a couple of years.
Yeah, Doku don't need to be going to Liverpool now and sitting on the bench. Doku's playing week in, week out for Anderlecht. To go to Liverpool,
wait until January.
Yeah, but still to go to Liverpool, to sit on the bench, I don't know whether this is a good move. You can easily be eaten up by the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? And especially if you're not getting game time, you get a loan out, you don't settle. I just don't think it's the right move for the kid if he's not going to go into a team where he's going to be playing. Leicester have signed Roma's Cengiz Under on a season-long loan with an obligation to buy for €27 million. I know, Steve, you was on that. Jerome, you had a little look at him to explain what kind of a player he is.
Yeah. So he's 23. He's a right winger that's left-footed. When he went to Roma initially, he was actually brought in to replace Mohamed Salah. So he's a similar player to him. You can see similarities. To say he's a poor man Salah would be, I think, a bit too much disrespect. He's a very good player. He missed a lot of last season. He missed about half a season because he was injured. But he's very tricky, nippy, cuts inside a lot on his left foot, can take players on. He will definitely be an upgrade on what Leicester currently have there. He'll improve Leicester in that position. I think he's one of those, when he first burst onto the scene, he had so much potential, and the last couple of years he hasn't maybe lived up to it. So I think a fresh move for him to Leicester, it could sort of not reignite his career, but he could sort of push on now if he gets a lot of game time, because he's definitely got a lot of ability.
Yeah,
good player.
I like these kind of buys where they're because Salah was one of them. De Bruyne was one of them, where they didn't quite do it at the club they went to after in a big move, but then they go to another club, they settle, they get the right manager, and boom, they hit the ground running. You can see their potential. Leeds completed the signing of Feyenoord youngster Krasenko Somerville. Steve, you've got a bit of information on Leeds, haven't you?
Yeah. I spoke to the guy earlier. Leeds have been told that are very close now to signing Rodrigo de Paul. Talks have been going on for weeks, and there's a £30 million euro deal is imminent on that. And one that we all thought that was going to go through, but I'm told now that it's not. I know Jerome was going to do a thing on him. I hope he ain't.
Oh, the defender? No, he hasn't. Don't worry.
Just go Garavdo. The tide has turned, and he's worried. He's worried to play for Leeds. Obviously, his English isn't very good. He said he's worried to play for Leeds, because of family reasons. So that's that. Dan James bid has been rejected from Leeds. That was 30 million. So I'm not surprised that's been rejected.
How much did Man United buy him for? 15, wasn't it?
I don't know. Was it? I thought it was more than that, but I think you may be right. Was it right? No, you could be right. I haven't got a clue.
I think Leeds nearly got him for 15. Then Man United jumped in.
Yeah, and the another one that I don't know, but Leeds seem to be, going for everybody. Eric Polgar, midfielder from Fiorentina, a 10 million euro bid's gone in. That's been rejected. Yep. Whether they're going to go back in or not, I don't know. Just keep on the Leicester thing. Wesley Lafana has been on top of the list. I mean, it's been quite clear from day one that Leicester have been after a centre half, a flair player, and a forward. And like Jerome said, was telling us earlier that sends it under is that he's obviously that flair player.
Yeah.
The centre back looks like being Wesley Fofana. But Leicester have now come out and said they ain't going to wait much longer because which may mean Wesley Fofana may have to put in a transfer request. If that doesn't happen, then they're interested in Jonathan Tah of Bayern Leverkusen.
Yeah, Wesley Fofana's really pushing for the move, isn't he? Though he does want to move. I know, Jerome, you had a little look about him. He's very well renowned after playing with William Saliba as well.
Yeah. So again, young, similar age to Saliba. He's 19, 6'3". Mm-hmm. The one thing I'll say about Wesley Fofana is wherever he goes, if he does go to Leicester, however good Saliba will be, this guy will be just as good. I don't see really much difference between the two of them. I know obviously Saliba's been the one that's made the headlines because he's moved to Arsenal, and he's sort of been just sort of more in people's minds. But I think this guy is just as good. From watching him, he's reading of the game. Just everything about him, all the attributes you want from a defender, he's got. And don't be surprised if he does go to Leicester and has an unbelievable season, because I think he's excellent. Yeah,
there was actually talk that Arsenal were looking at the both of them because the partnership was that good. He's seriously well regarded in
he's only France. Young, isn't he? Is he only young?
Yeah,
19.
Yeah. Wow. Saint Etienne are doing really well. I think they're top of the league at the moment as well, aren't they?
Yeah, haven't conceded a goal. 3 games, haven't conceded a goal.
Fucking hell. Yeah. Very good, very good. Hassem Aouar, as we said previously, Hassem Aouar agreed personal terms 2 weeks ago. We put that out 2 weeks ago. Quite a few other pages turned around and said, I don't think they said we were lying this time, but they said Arsenal, they said Transfer Exchange Show. They didn't mention us. They just said Hassem Aouar has not agreed personal terms. I see a couple that put not in capital letters as well, just to sort of say that we were lying in different way. And it actually came out that he had agreed personal terms 2 weeks ago, to the point where a lot of the known journalists aren't even passing that out as breaking news, aren't even saying it's their news. They won't say whose news it was, but we all know that we did break the news that Hossein Mawar had agreed personal terms with Arsenal 2 weeks ago. That has now been confirmed. As we said previously, Arsenal want players out before they bring players in. Arsenal are yet to get any players out. So I understand you're getting a bit twitchy for the Hossein Mawar news and the Thomas Partey news, but Arsenal need to get these players out. As soon as they do, players will come in. And until then, there's not really much you can do. There's no updates on that. As soon as we get an update, we'll keep you posted. I think I'd be a crazy man to get an update and then just hold it myself and not put it on the page. It will 100% go out to everyone. Just be patient. To be fair, guys, you have been pretty patient over the last week. Since the last message been out, you've been a lot better. You've been a lot better. But I'm hoping something happens. Big movements this week. We've got 2 weeks of the transfer window left, I think it is. A little bit longer than that. So things will start picking up the pace everywhere. Everywhere. Steve's knackered. Jerome's knackered. Simon's ill. He can't take it anymore. His nerves are shot. Not just for his own sanity and the club that he supports, but just trying to get like I was on the phone to Si and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to bed now." Goes, "Oh no, just got a message." And there was like 1:30 in the morning. As it is, it's like that. It's non-stop. Starts getting messages at 2 in the morning from people, different time barriers and stuff like that. So it's what it is. Bags under my eyes. I'm aging, but once this transfer window's done, it will settle down and be able to talk about just football and not so much all on transfers. But yeah, don't worry. These deals are happening. These deals are happening, people. I wouldn't say that if I wouldn't be this confident. I'm confident that Arsenal will get Hossein Mawar and Thomas Partey. Just be patient. Man United exploring the possibility of Atalanta Ahmed Traore. Please don't. This kid deserves better than that.
No.
This kid is not going Man United. I'll stand wherever airport he's meant to be flying into. I'll stop it. I'm not having that. He's not going Man United. He can't go Man United. This kid's too good to go Man United. And it's not a slight on Man United. Man United are not in a good place at the moment for bringing in someone of 18 years of age. It goes straight in the under-23s. He just gets swallowed up. This kid is playing first-team football for Atalanta. You do not need to be bringing him to the Premier League right now, and especially to United. I don't think there's not many clubs that I think he would be right for him to go to. Probably clubs that are not up there in the top 6, I'd probably say, or top 8, because I think this kid needs good nurturing and football.
Everton.
Everton, Arsenal, Leicester.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'd be worried that this kid would end up in the under-23s or just not get enough game time. And I think there's a lot of clubs out there that just want the here and now. And I mean, Man United, one of the reasons why they didn't get Haaland, and they will say it's because of the contractual thing with regards to in 2 years' time or a year's time, he can go for 50-odd million. Rubbish. Haaland didn't want to go to Man United because they said they're going to put him in the under-23s. They offered him more money, a lot more money than Dortmund, but they said he'd go into the under-23s. And he didn't want that. He wanted to play in first-team football. Now, Dortmund, he hasn't been playing in Dortmund week in, week out, starting. He's come off the bench when he first came. He got nurtured in. That seems a good way. So it's no wonder he's put off by the fact that he was told by Man United he's going to go into the under-23s.
But the biggest one was which we covered and which we broke and which we see all the way was Jude Bellingham.
Oh yeah.
He actually came out and said that I don't want to go back. I do not want to go to Manchester United because they wanted him because I care about my future. And again, that's not a slight on Man United. It's just that he was never going to get a game. And look at him at Dortmund now; he's buzzing.
Scoring his debut, and he's surrounded by people he can be inspired by. The likes of Jadon Sancho was at Man City, came to Dortmund, like one of the most highly rated players in the world. Giovanni Reina, again another Englishman in Germany or American, but born in England. And again, it's another story. It's someone he could work with that he's got a background at least similar to him. I think he's in a really good place.
Look at Serge Gnabry. Look at Serge Gnabry, what he's done for his career.
And people can say, yeah. Look what Arsenal lost to Serge Gnabry. Arsenal lost to Serge Gnabry. Don't do it again, Serge Gnabry. Serge Gnabry ain't making it in the Premier League with a team that's not giving him consistent game time, and that's what he needed at Arsenal. We needed game time, and he wasn't ready at that time. He was not ready at that. If you're trying to tell me he was better than Theo Walcott at that time, you're talking trash. If you're saying he's a better player than Theo Walcott now, then yes, he is. But at that time, was he better than Theo Walcott? No, he wasn't. So you can't put him instead.
If you're a true football fan, if you're an Arsenal fan, you should be glad that Serge Gnabry left Arsenal.
Yeah,
and that he's gone to play
because
Bayern Munich.
He didn't just go from Arsenal to Bayern Munich. He went via Wolfsburg, had 2 solid seasons there, and then he got loaned out again when he got bought by Bayern Munich. So it wasn't as if he went from Arsenal to Bayern Munich and oh my God, how did you miss this talent? It took like 3 seasons to do it. So it's like, and in Germany they get opportunities.
Yeah.
So, and that's what it's about. It's about game time.
Look at all the Americans. Look at all the American players. They're all going to Germany.
Yeah,
all of them are.
Because it's the right level to develop well. Leeds actually interested in Julian Draxler, Steve. I think you missed that one.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah, that's a big one.
And that is true. They are very much interested in Julian Draxler. They have had talks with Julian Draxler. Julian Draxler wants to play in the Premiership. He had fleeting talks with Everton right at the beginning of the window, but that's certainly just went out the window very quick. But yeah, I mean it's plain and it's simple, and there's not much more to say about it. That Julian Draxler, they're interested in him. Yeah.
Oh, and you were saying before the show about David Brooks and Newcastle.
Yeah. Newcastle. I should be able to give you quite a lot of Newcastle news quite regularly now. But when I was told today that when Newcastle were doing negotiations with Callum Wilson for him to go with Bournemouth, it was actually a double deal to bring also David Brooks to Newcastle as well. That one is still ongoing. That's looking more like January now. But the fact how well Callum Wilson is doing, that could be more than possible. That could be more than possible.
Yep. Arsenal will make an attempt to sign Wilfred Zaha once they have sealed their 2 top targets. Would you like a Wilfred Zaha at Arsenal, Steve? Would it work?
I don't know. I think I see him sometimes, and I see him do what he does, and you think, yeah, he'd do well. But for me, he's too inconsistent, and I'm not sure about his attitude. I mean, yeah, his mate, his best friend, Yannick Bolasie, who plays for Everton. Mm-hmm. They was having like this tweet in each other just yesterday, and Zaha's tweeted on his account. What is it? Talk is cheap. So I don't know who he's aiming that at. So, but going back to Zaha coming to Arsenal, I think there's better we can get.
Jerome, would you like Wilfred Zaha at Arsenal? Do you think like with Steve there's better that Arsenal can get?
It is a tough one. With the thing is, the way Arteta plays at the moment, he plays Aubameyang from the left, so he's not going to. I don't think he'll play Aubameyang through the middle. So if Zaha signed for Arsenal, maybe they would put him up front instead of Lacazette. It's a real tough one.
It is tough.
Yeah, I think it is. It's tough because on his day he's a world beater. He's untouchable.
If you had Aubameyang central, which is where I think he should be, and you had Pepe and William on the right, and you had Zaha on the left, then guarantee. But that's fine. But then you'd have to have Lacazette either sold or he would have to be on the bench and have competition with Aubameyang. And he's not going to win that competition, is he?
I personally think that although Arsenal are preparing to offer Lacazette an extension, if he doesn't get sold, he's one of them players that if there is an offer, he's gone. And I don't think they would, if there was a good enough offer, they wouldn't be too shy in saying you need to go. Because I just don't feel like he's the number one option.
Can you imagine Arsenal offering him a new contract? Lacazette.
Only because he's got 2 years left.
Yeah. No, but
because
it's what I'm saying. Can you see it? Can you envisage over the next 6 months Arsenal saying to Lacazette, right, we're tearing up your current contract, here's a new 3 or 4 year contract?
I could see him give.
I don't know if they do it.
Because it's good business. Because it would be very dangerous for him to go into the final year of his contract past this window.
Yeah.
But that means we've got. How long does that mean we've got him for, though?
No,
it's 2 years. It's 2 years at the moment, isn't it? He's got 2. Is it 2 years or 1 year?
He's got 2 years left.
So you're going to add another what on?
2 years.
So
another 1
years.
or 2. Another 1 or 2. So, I think they've got to sell him now.
That's the case. But how many people are interested? If by the end of this window you've not sold him, what do you do? That's the thing. You've got to prepare.
I think you're in a mess. Because you're either going to lose him for hardly any money, or you're going to have to offer him a new contract. And I don't think he's got another 3 or 4 top years in him. I don't think he's got another 2 good games in him. Let alone another. No, I'm being harsh.
I'll tell you what. I'm not. Jerome's spot on. Harsh. He's absolutely right. He's scored. We spoke about it the other day. He scored 2 goals and great. That's what a striker does. He scores goals. If we've got the Lacazette at Lyon, brilliant, fantastic. Give him 2 years and let him keep whacking the goals in. Let them score goals. But like Jerome said, I just don't think he will. And what happened before when he turned around and said, "I'm not going.
Yeah,
I'm going to see my contract at." Do you really want to give him another 2?
So what do you do? This is look. You can't just think as a football fan. You've got to think as a businessman now as well. What do you do? No, you have to. You can't differentiate it right now. You have to. Yeah. He's got 2 years left. Yeah. You have to figure out a situation where you either sell the player. I said this months ago. You either got to sell the player or offer him a new deal. And right now, he ain't been sold. Yeah. So whether
he don't want to go, does he? He don't want to go.
So you got to offer him a new deal. Whether that's a year extension, whether that's a 2 year extension, you've got to offer him a new deal. Hope he does well, and then sell him. Like you've got to be a businessman.
So that's what it is. You've got to hope either he turns around and says, scores a load of goals, or hope that he turns around and said,
hope he does his job, yeah. Or he has an absolute shit show for the next season, and you're lumbered with a geezer who's got now 3 years left of his contract and earns a massive wage. Yeah, it's a dilemma. It's a massive dilemma.
I think ultimately, if Arsenal want to get to a place where Arteta feels Arsenal should be, I don't think Lacazette is the guy that's going to take you there. And so for that reason, I think that's why if you offer him a new contract, you're offering a new contract to someone that isn't going to take you where you want to go. So if you do it.
It sounds like the safe thing to do is to let him see this out and hope he scores a load of goals. And let him see it out.
Yeah,
let him see it out.
Okay.
And then put him on the bench, and hopefully he's going to fight and come on the subs and do that.
There's this scenario, yeah. Lacazette, you don't give him a new contract. Lacazette smashes it, scores 30 goals. Yeah. You've got a year left of his contract, and we are sitting here now saying what awful business Arsenal have done. We're in the same situation again where we've got a geezer who's smashing in goals for us and playing well, and he's got a year left of his contract. He's going to get sold for minimal money. We can't have both sides.
If he's had an incredible season, then his value would probably be maybe similar to what it is now, whether he's got 2 years left.
Yeah, maybe.
If a team sees that he's scored 30 goals, his value won't drop too much from where it is now.
Yeah. But then you're selling what is potentially a 70-80 million pound striker for 40 million pounds because you didn't do your business right, and it's a fine line. It's a tough one, and I'm not a chairman.
How old is Lacazette? How old is he?
28, isn't he?
Yeah,
28, right? So in Lacazette's head, you're thinking final contract.
Yes, pretty much.
So
maybe
it'll get. Yeah, I'll have that extra 2 years. Put that on to 4 years. I'll see this out lovely.
He's going to be 30.
Get myself like a right little earner.
He's going to be 30 in May. He's 29.
Don't forget, once they've signed a contract, they do what they like.
It's a tough one. Mesut
Ozil.
Yeah, but that's one player. How many Mesut Ozils is there around? That's why we're speaking about Mesut Ozil like it's an anomaly. That's why we're like, this can't happen again, because it don't happen.
So don't you think the best thing is for him to see it out then?
I think the best thing is to identify your target and strike, mate, and then get the player that you want. I've said that for a long time. If Lacazette stays at Arsenal, it's not a disaster. But I think you've got someone who you've tied down for 3 years, who is one of the best strikers in the world, is your talisman, yeah. And you've got someone there who you either have to offer a new contract or sell now, who's at the age where it's like you said, he's his final big contract, or he's your future. He's your player going forward. I don't see him as Arsenal's player going forward.
No,
I don't see it as a long-term thing.
Agree with that.
I feel like you've got to start getting in what's going to be taken over for Aubameyang. That's one, or someone that's coming in now. It's a lot younger that in a season's time will be the real deal, or is something that you want, not something that you've been handed. And I feel like Lacazette's been something that has been handed. It sounds horrible because Lacazette's a very good player. He brings a lot to Arsenal's game. He works hard for Arsenal, which has been the reason why I feel like his goals have dropped, because he's very unselfish.
He might smash it up. It up from there. Who knows? It's hopefully he smashes it up.
Yeah,
hopefully he does it. Mr. Bosman's got a lot to answer for.
It's a techie one, but I'm sure he's done the right thing. Where are we? Lyon are set to offer Memphis Depay as part of a deal to bring in AC Milan's Lucas Paqueta.
Oh, don't start
it. Jerome, you have to look at him.
Just Lucas.
Yeah, he's changed his name to Just Lucas.
Yeah.
Lucas of Milan. Okay,
Yeah.
go on, Jerome.
So this is a guy that originally came from Brazil. Now, as you say, now's at AC Milan, and he came with a massive reputation. People were comparing him to, like people do a lot when there's like a new Brazilian player on the scene, compare him to Kaká. He also got compared to James Rodriguez. Now, last season for AC Milan, he played 37 games and he scored 1 goal. And by a lot of people, I know we were saying about stats before, but by a lot of people, he's been considered like a massive flop. Just hasn't lived up to his expectation. Very talented, one of those players that links the midfield to the attack. Got lots of flair, can make players look silly. Holds on to the ball, can sometimes hold on to the ball for a bit too long and draws a lot of fouls, but it just hasn't worked for him in Italy. So it's like we were saying before, another player that might need a fresh start. But yeah, it just hasn't worked, hasn't lived up to the hype, basically.
And Leon's probably one of the clubs that are very good at doing that, finding them gems.
Yeah. He's talented, but it just hasn't worked out.
Potential replacement for Houssem Aouar, some are saying. Yeah,
because he plays in a similar position to him. So you can see it. Yeah.
Conor Gallagher's gone on a season-long loan to West Bromwich Albion. This guy is a very good player. Very hard-working central midfielder. Can score goals. Very, very simple player. Reminds me a little bit like Aaron Ramsey. Very industrial. Works very hard. You'll see a lot more of him in the Premier League this season. I saw him a few times when I went down to go and see Charlton. Was a fan's favourite, and then unfortunately for them, went on loan to Swansea halfway through the season. So they weren't able to keep him to stay in the league. But he was one of the reasons why they did so well at the start of the season. Conor Gallagher, and he's probably going to have a good season at West Brom. Bayern Munich have reached an agreement with Ajax to sign Sergio Dest. Yeah. Jerome, you had a little look at him. I know Steve knows about him. What kind of a player would Bayern Munich be getting? Because not many people know about Sergio Dest. Nah,
well, as Steve's, I don't know how you describe it, as his reaction to when you mentioned his name. If they do sign Dest, and they've already got
Alphonso Davies
as their Alphonso Davies left back and Serginho Dest as their right back.
Yeah,
that's the best. They're the best fullbacks in world football. So he's only 19, Serginho Dest. He's right back, and he began his career as a midfielder, as a winger.
Yeah.
And in 2020, he won. They call it Ajax's Talent of the Year. It's like their Player of the Year. Again, being a 19-year-old, something that in the past the Litz won, that Christian Eriksen's won. He is defensively, he's so hard to get past. Like Wan-Bissaka is for United. You know, a lot of wingers struggle against getting past Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
But with the ball, he looks. This is going to sound really weird. He looks better than a winger when he's got the ball. He just looks so comfortable on the ball. He's going to be a star. I love him. He's amazing. People have compared him to Trent Alexander-Arnold, but who's brilliant as a right back. He's quality, but I think he's got a bit more to his game than that. He can also play left back as well. He's played left back a few times. He's got a few appearances for the American national team, but. Yeah, if people haven't seen him before, if they just watch him for 5 minutes, they'll see that this guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, no,
it hits you. It's like it's so obvious.
Instant.
When you're watching him, isn't it?
It's instant. It's love at first sight, as Jerome's just said.
Yeah.
I suppose that means that if Alaba stays, he'll be centre back then, won't it?
No, but that's another reason why he doesn't want to be a centre back.
Exactly. Being a bit like tongue in cheek.
Yeah, that's why when there was links with Alaba early on in the transfer window, probably before the transfer window with Chelsea, and they were saying Alaba to play as a centre back for Chelsea. I was like, he does not want to play as centre back. It's just that Bayern Munich's team's ridiculous. And that's what it boils down to. Chelsea are set to put in a bid for West Ham's Declan Rice, as we saw last week with Roshan Thomas of The Athletic. Top guest. Thank you very much again, Roshan, for coming on. He said that if West Ham sell Declan Rice to Chelsea, it's game over for West Ham. They're burned down the Olympic Stadium, East London. Everything. It'll be end of for the chairman. It'll be serious.
I can't see it. I can't see this one. No.
Yeah, but who did Chelsea?
Because they could have to play him centre back, couldn't they?
Yeah, that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. They want to play him centre back. Diego Jota has signed for Liverpool. Really good signing. 41 million, I think it is. Wolves are set to make a £20 million offer for Divock Origi. Barcelona will go over Ronald Koeman's head to sign Manchester City's Eric Garcia. They've just had talks with his dad. Crystal Palace could make a move for Brentford winger Said Benrahma, where we spoke about it earlier. Aston Villa has signed former Chelsea and former Lyon and former Chelsea forward Bertrand Traore. Wolves are interested in signing Liverpool and England midfielder Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Manchester United looked set to complete a deal for Alex Telles, 20 million euros of Porto. Jerome, I think you had a little look at him. What kind of fullback is he?
Yeah, very attacking. Left back 27's got an excellent cross in him. He last season he scored 11 goals from left back.
Wow.
That could be a record, perhaps. I haven't looked into that, but yeah, he's been compared to Maicon, the old Inter Milan fullback, in terms of very aggressive runner, like runs with intent.
Yeah.
He's got a great engine apparently, and despite all the running he gets to, never seems to sort of look tired at the end of the game. He's only got one cap for Brazil from left back, but that could be because obviously Marcelo's their left back. But yeah, it's to find a left back that scores 11 goals in one season, and I think a few of those have been shots from outside the area, like thunderous strikes.
So get him in your dream team.
Yeah.
If he does sign.
Well, the trouble is he might concede a lot of goals, so he might not get a clean sheets, but he'll have a few goals.
Chelsea were after him, weren't they?
Yeah, Chelsea were linked with him for a long time. I think Chelsea had talks with him as well. And he's got a year left in his contract, so he's only going to be going for 20 million euros. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Again, an excellent transfer exchange show from you guys. Always coming up with a top exclusive, and I mean that player analysis. We're literally just sitting there swooning, Jerome. It's getting a bit weird now. All right?
It is good.
All right. I'd like to thank everyone in the comments section. Corey, thank you very much for coming in. Shearer, new name, thank you very much for watching. Anikan, Glenn, Goodwin, obviously always here, hyping up on the Twitter page. Martin Nordsgag. Simon Sheffield, stop telling people about the Thomas Partey deal going on or whatever happening, boys, early on. Jonathan Cox, thanks for watching. H4S, thanks for watching. Lumberkamp, thank you again. There's loads of new names in here. Love that. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, God, here we go. I'm not even going to read that one out. It's Party an hour. Lacazette golden boot. Shut up, Simon. Please go like and subscribe to the page. Like, subscribe, hit the button. If you're still here now and you've not liked, you've not subscribed, me and you're going to fall out. I don't know who it will be, but me and you're going to fall out. Go and follow the Transfer Exchange Show Twitter, Instagram, and obviously the YouTube. If you're here, you've got to be following. We are going to be on Twitter next week. Bob, I know you missed the one last time. We're going to be on Twitter next week. Same time, but on Twitter. Stephen, another one. We're going to be on Twitter next week. Please don't miss the show. Please don't send a message in the comment section asking us where the show was. It's going to be on Twitter next week, mate. Please don't miss it. Anyone else, Michelle, anyone else who watches us only on YouTube, come and watch it on our Twitter channel. Come and follow our Twitter. That works vice versa for every other channel we're on, because we're going to be doing different stuff. We're going to be dropping exclusives on different platforms, boys and girls. All right. So you need to follow all of them. Otherwise, you're going to miss out. You're going to get it late. No one wants to be the last one in the party, except for me, because it's always the best way. Oh, Gareth Lewis, my boy, Sophie Gallagher. Thank you very much. Oh, Andre Welsh. And yeah, another shout out to Gareth. Thank you very much to Steve Powell, my chief scout.
Who?
Steve Powell. Wow. That's a hybrid. That's a hybrid of you and Simon. Could you imagine? I'd get no bloody sleep. Sorry, Steve. Steve K. Chief Scout Extraordinaire. Yeah,
thanks for joining us.
Could you imagine?
Please,
what? Them sound effects were awful. I need proper ones. I can't have you in the background going. It sounds like old 20-year-old years sparklers. Like, you need proper fireworks, mate.
Jerome was telling me it was uncanny. You know,
yeah, it was like Police Academy. Listen to Jonesy doing proper sound effects. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and please go and subscribe, because when we do deadline day, you'll need to.
You will,
because you'll miss it all.
You will. So, I'm not joking. On deadline day,
you need to subscribe.
Yeah, it's going to be popping in and out of Twitter, so don't ask me for updates on Hour, because people are going to be out there knowing about Hour. Yeah, it's happening on the channel. Should be in here. On the Hour, every hour. Yeah. See what I did there? All right. And Jerome Marks, the greatest voice in football.
The voice.
The voice.
That's what we're going to call the
voice. Jerome Marks, player analysis. Only on the Transfer Exchange Show. The review. Thank you very much, Jerome.
Brilliant. Cheers. Thanks everyone for watching. Cheers.
All right. And I'll tell you what, the show is less, half an hour less at the moment as well. Look at that. It's saving you time. Eventually, we will get it down a little bit shorter. It's transfer time. It's the fun. It's the best bit is the transfer roundup. Don't lie. I see you lot skipping to the transfer roundup. I don't mind it. But you know what I mean. Just be honest. All right.
We put a lot of work in.
Yeah, we do. But it's all good. Thank you very much for washing. You should wash. General hygiene is good. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Peace out. Stay safe and wash your hands.